evening, everyone. On behalf of DKIF, Dr. Kalam International Foundation, I, Dr. Pratibha Singh, extend a warm welcome to all of you to this international conference on quality education. International conference is scheduled to be held between 26th May to 30th May in New Delhi. As part of pre-conference activities like lesson plan sessions, like panel discussions, and like motivational talks on educational topics. Today, we are honored to have Dr. Sri Vidya Muthuwal as an esteemed educationist and mentor with us. Dr. Sri Vidya Muthuwal has done her post-graduation in literature from Savitri Bai Phule University, Pune, and currently she is working as a TGT in English in Mansukh Bhai Kothari National School. Besides teaching, she has been mentoring and training the students using different kind of pedagogies based on her experience. She has garnered many accolades to her credit, like School Innovation Ambassador from Ministry of Education, All India Council for Technology and Education, and the Internet Awesome Ambassador from CBSE in association with Google. Ma'am, it's very interesting to know that you are from literature stream and you are certified with this School Innovation Ambassador from Ministry of Education. Means you are very dynamic kind of personality. Mrs. Srividya is a member of many prestigious educational societies like Council for Creative Education, CCE, Finland International Society, and International Council for Education Research and Training, that is ICERT. Let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Sri Vidya Muthuwal for today's webinar. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome, Sri Vidya, ma'am. Now platform is all yours. Now you can start your motivational talk.
Thank you so much, Pratibha, ma'am. And I would love to extend my warm gratitude to Kalam Foundation, as it is now associated with the International Association, as we all are growing and pondering our thoughts. And I'm really privileged to share this platform with Dr. Kalam Foundation. I hope I'm visible and audible clearly, ma'am. Right?
Yes, ma'am. You are visible and audible.
Clearly. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I would now share my PowerPoint presentation. The presentation is visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Okay. A beautiful good morning. Good evening to all my audiences who have joined today this beautiful evening. Thank you for joining us. Today we will be pondering upon the thoughts of importance of different teaching styles, rather let's say facilitating styles. So, effective teaching requires adapting instructional methods. What do we understand by instructional methods? Here, I have taken example of Evelyn Glennie. She is a wonderful percussionist, multi-percussionist. She resides from Spain. Okay. When this child was 12 years old, she became completely deaf. She was not able to hear. But her teacher, Ron Forbes, did not lose hope upon Evelyn Glennie, actually. She was in a school, and the normal teachers, they literally told Evelyn and her mother that she has to leave the school and she has to go to school for the specially able children. But the ideology of the music teacher, Ron Forbes, was spectacularly very, very phenomenal. He saw Evelyn had a pure interest in the musical instruments. So he approached Evelyn and he made her believe in herself, while he did not only facilitate but taught her in an instructional manner of how to imbibe the volume of the instruments, the vibrations of the instruments through the body parts. She could not hear, right? But she could literally feel the vibes, the beats through her bare feet. This is called instructional method of facilitating or teaching a child for the area of interest they belong to. Today, by default, we have 5 or 6 subjects in all our schools. That is mandatory. And the children get, grades, percentages, and they just pass out. But what is the meaning of that passing out when they are not incorporated with the skills? When they're not being identified their area of interest? So the importance of teaching must always be instructional. We should always understand why China comes first in Olympics, right? There is a question why from our neighboring country, the Olympic champions are emerging year by year, and where we have to restart and reboot our button. So adopting the instructional strategy and methods is the master key to foster a child for the engagement, comprehension, along with the academic success. What is academic success? Academic success is not only about textbooks. Academic success speaks volumes, my dear colleagues, right? What is academics? Academics is education, and education can be seen in any form, right? For Evelyn Glennie, the success has been seen through her way of playing instruments. That is called education. I hope we all are agreeing with it, right, Pratibha ma'am? I hope I'm making sense. Yeah. Next we come to lecture-based instruction. This is a traditional way of instruction. I want my audience to speak to me. That is how the session has to be interactive, okay? You can unmute the mic and you can, just answer me. We all have seen the movie Tare Zameen Par. Yes, we all have seen. Right? Please unmute your mics and speak. That is how, we could be literally engaging. Yes, Pratibha ma'am, you have put your hands up. So literally we all have seen the movie. When the child is been sent to a hostel, the parents did not understand the psychology of the child, right? He was very artistic and he needed a differentiated instruction, right? But every teacher neglected the child only based upon lecture instruction. We are lecturing, we are tutoring, we are engaging the child, but the child is not able to do. But who is going to find the why behind that, right? And how the child was taught. That is the pathway, the junction we have to learn. Lecture-based methods, yes, it does reach the audience, but it comes in a very passive manner. We have different kinds of learners, audience. We have, auditory learners. We have kinesthetic learners. We have visual learners, right? And the child from this movie was an artistic learner. So a facilitator who drew this out not only made him a wonderful or spectacular artist, but the child even started to read, write, enthusiastically. The child became confident. So we as a society, we all have our responsibility in building the characteristics of the children as a whole. Next, we speak about interactive classroom activities. Yeah. Beyond passive lectures, today we have interactive sessions where we have applications. We encourage our children to have active participation that encourages their problem solving through application of concepts. Now, when we talk about application of concepts, it's a huge, vast, diverse topic. See, when the children are, divided into small groups, they are asked to discuss, to analyze case studies or debate key issues. Now, just let us take a small key issue about SDG goals. I hope we all know Sustainable Development Goals, right? A very important and essential part is only knowing Sustainable Development Goals going to work, or are we going to practice over it? Like if we talk about zero hunger, one of the SDG, how are we going to incorporate zero hunger into our children? How are we going to give them knowledge about the value of food we consume, or value the left out food, and how to utilize the left out food, either by helping out to reach it to the needy people, or allowing it out to be a compostable material. How are we going to practice the SDG goals? That makes a difference. Next is hands-on experiments and demonstrations to illustrate scientific principles. Here we can take the example. I have taken a primary example of bicycle. And we know all vehicles need tires to run, right? I have taken the basic example of bicycle. You know, during our days, we used to have an air pump to fill the bicycle's tube. Nowadays, it's all electronic. You see the number, you understand that the bike's air is filled. The bike's tires, air is filled. Earlier, the technique was not there. Children had to analyze through the air pump and analyzing the pressure inside the tire to understand, to critically evaluate, has the air reached the bicycle's tire enough, right? Today, just because it has become electronic, somewhere the children are missing the skills. Next is role-playing scenarios to bring abstract theories to life. Okay, we have J.K. Rowling. She is a fantastic author of Harry Potter. We have her books also, but even the books were a super hit in the market. The movie was not a less hit, right? So when we make out real senses to the children, the classroom becomes interactive. The classroom becomes more productive. Next comes project-based learning. What is project-based learning? When something has been assigned to the children and they learn upon their own. For example, I've taken our entrepreneur, Aman Gupta. He is the CEO of Lenskart. Okay. So let's assume I have given a research project to research upon Aman Gupta, how he has become the CEO of Lenskart, what innovation has he done to the glasses that were already present in the market. So what the children will do, they will go to the real world challenges. They will start thinking critically. What they will start thinking is, the glasses were already there in the market. How did Aman Gupta bring a phenomenal transformation to this spectacle? He came up with different kinds of frames, right? Different kinds of glasses. He came out with colors. What did children understand? They had authentic learning. The product was already present in the market, right? It was an innovation because the glasses were already invented. So authentic learning, they face the real world challenges to learn this. Next is collaborative inquiry, where each child has different connotations to one particular research. One could tell, Aman Gupta had a wide range of scope upon his ideas. That is the reason why he was able to pull up Lenskart, right? The second would tell, no, he would have had a lot of investment through which he could pull out the profits and invest and make his company, enlarge his company. So every idea is appreciated when collaborative inquiry takes place. And third comes the student autonomy, where the facilitator guides the children, motioning them to the correct direction of the project that was been assigned. Flipped classroom approach. Here I have taken example of Sonam Wangchuk. Okay, we all know Sonam Wangchuk, right? He is our famous scientist. We all have seen the film Three Idiots, and we all have seen he believes learning by doing, right? Here the children do by themselves. They are self-scientists. They do, they learn, they relearn, they unlearn, then again they learn, right? Here to the teacher or the facilitator acts as a guide. The child has been given a complete amount of liberation to work upon their own models. This is how we will have to design our children. We are not allowed to show them a rote path that they should walk upon and the results are the same. No, shifting instructional methods is a valid need for our time. When we saw this movie Three Idiots, during the end of the scene, we saw the school children that is in reality in Leh and Ladakh, and sir has a school that works on this phenomenon where children hardly have books. They have the approach of practicing more, no, learning by doing. You do, you learn. Once you learn, you will do, right? So this has been still practiced, and it will be in progress, because this is how the children grow. Next comes inquiry-based teaching. This concentrates into student-driven learning with guided exploration, encompassing critical thinking development with a real-world relevance. Here, I have taken example of Ustad Bismillah Khan. Sir Bismillah Khan, when he was 3 years old, he was accompanied with his mother to his grandfather's place. There, the small child, Ustad Bismillah Khan, saw his maternal uncle playing Shehnai very smoothly. And this 3-year-old child, Bismillah Khan, fell in love with the Shehnai. Without even keeping in mind, am I into the correct path? What am I doing? A 3-year-old child is significantly getting involved into learning Shehnai. So the 3-year-old child, he did not stop there. When he grew, he became a man who actually played Shehnai during our Independence Day at the Red Fort. So I will share a small instance. There was a time when he was growing up at the age of 13, 14. He was with the other maestros of, playing Shehnai. And there was a raga which was instated by the other maestros, that this raga was impossible to be, inculcated into the Shehnai. Ustad Bismillah Khan, being him, he isolated himself for some days. He went to River Ganga, the banks of River Ganga. He isolated himself, and he heard the beautiful music of, flowing rivers of Mother Ganga. This inspired him to inculcate the, impossible raga into the Shehnai. It embedded him to actually design this raga into the Shehnai. So what made him to inquire and question his ability? He did not give up to the notion of the other maestros. If they told it is difficult or if it is impossible, he did not give up to that. He questioned himself. Why am I not able to do? This is called, inquiry-based learning, where it is always and always student-driven. The teacher is always there to guide the exploration the child has. Yes, he was the individual master, but we have to act as facilitators and guides to all our children. We have to, develop their critical thinking and give them relevance to the real world. So what happened was he had set a record to the real world, you see. Today, when we speak about Ustad Bismillah Khan, he is a legacy of the past. So this is how we have to design our children. Next, we have differentiated instruction, where we speak about personalized learning, flexible content, ongoing assessment, and supportive environment. When we speak about personalized learning, flexible content, here I have taken example of Zakir Hussain and MF Hussain. Okay, Zakir Hussain is our India's excellent tabla player, and MF Hussain is our India's excellent painter, right? When we speak about personalized learning, both are from different genres, different categories, and both of them have their flexible content. Both had undergone different kinds of assessment, and both of them had supportive environment to dwell into their learning process and grow up to the personalities they were meant to be, right? So here we have to design our children. We have to tailor the content according to the what we say area of interest of our children. Next, we come to the collaborative learning. I have taken the example of cricket and football. When we talk about collaborative learning, we speak about teamwork and communication, peer-to-peer interaction, presentation skills, and appreciation of diversity. Here I have taken example of cricket. When we see cricket or say football or soccer, we have always seen teamwork, communication happening between the teams. The peer interaction is literally a core aspect that goes hand in hand. The collaborative learning is happening within the field, inside the field, that leads to the presentation skills of the team. And we have the appreciation of diversity. Different kinds of people go to watch the match, where we accept the players for their skills, my dear colleagues, and not for their education. We have to redefine the meaning of education. Next, we talk about technology integration in teaching and learning process. Today, we all have been connected through Zoom, through the digital way, where we are sharing the digital content. We are virtually collaborating with each other, right? And we have data-driven insights. So we have, search engines, we have ChatGPT, we have Google Bard, Google Gemini, that is into the picture nowadays. So the importance of digital literacy plays a hands-on importance to the 21st century skills that should be imbibed in our children. In the conclusion, we speak about effective teaching requires an adaptable, multifaceted approach that caters the diverse need. We are talking about the holistic development, my dear colleagues, and learning preferences of students by skillfully blending various instructional methods. I told, we have different kinds of learners. We have children with different areas of interest. We should analyze their area of interest and work upon them. That is how education plays a vital role. So by skillfully blending various instructional methods, educators can create dynamic, engaging classrooms that would foster deep understanding, critical thinking, and a life love for learning. And learning, my dear audience, is unending, never ending, right? And the love for learning should emerge from within. It should be natural. It cannot be forced upon anyone, right? So here I end my presentation. and thank Dr. Kalam Foundation once again for providing me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Srividya ma'am. It was really and indeed, it was a wonderful and enlightening session, ma'am. I thank you for imparting your expertise to help all the leaders and educators present over here. And I thank to all participants and all educators also who have contributed in making this event a successful evening and a successful webinar. Very grateful to you, Srividya ma'am, again on behalf of DKIF and IAFQUE, International Dr. Kalam International Foundation and International Association for Quality Education Sri Lanka. I impart my heartfelt gratitude to you that you have enlightened this session with your mentoring expertise. And again, it was very wonderful session, ma'am. On behalf of Dr. Sudhakar Singh sir, DKIF, I extend my gratitude and thanks to you. Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you all the delegates and participants present over here for making this a very enriching type of session. Thank you.
Now I'm able to speak. I've been unmuted. Thank you, Pratibha ma'am, and thank you to all my participants. Your valuable feedback has really made my evening shine more, vibrant and beautiful. Thank you so much. And I guess Zoo, I don't know the name. I guess he or she is from Sri Lanka. I don't know. Sorry, because of the name. Tells my lesson is very valuable. Thank you so much. Okay. He is Gowda sir, right, Pratibha ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Gowda sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, Indira ma'am. Thank you so much. And thank you, Taran sir. And thank you, everyone who has encouraged me. Thank you so much.
I am Indira from Sri Lanka. I want to thank the doctor and all the other expertise. And we are very grateful that you have shared your expertise and engage your audience, and your presentation left a lasting impression. And we have received positive feedback from attendees who found your insight informative and inspiring. Once again, thank you for your time, effort, and everything you have done. I am very grateful to you. And thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much again.
Thank you so much, Indira ma'am. Your feedback was really very enlightening, and it fostered my evening with vibrancy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ma'am, actually, your session was really very crisp and composed type of session it was, ma'am. Srividya ma'am.
Yes, Pratibha ma'am. I kept it because I have the intuition of giving a long session, Last time my session took a lot of time. Today,
Yes,
due to the request by Sudhakar sir, I had to keep it compact, or else, yes, I would have loved to extend it, made it more comprehensive and more interesting, as told by Taran sir also. Taran sir, next time, pakka.
Okay, ma'am. Right, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you once again, everyone. Thank you, Kamal Gowda sir. Thank you, delegates from Sri Lanka. Thank you, delegates from India and other countries. Thank you, Srividya ma'am. And now we can conclude the session. Thank you.